Milo had always been drawn to places that felt untouched, where nature still held its power and mystery. The dense rainforest called to him like a distant song he could not ignore. Stories of a hidden waterfall cave had traveled far beyond the village near the forest's edge. Some said it was only a legend, a tale told to amaze travelers, but Milo felt sure it was real. With his backpack strapped tight and a journal in hand, he set out before sunrise, the sky still painted in soft shades of pink and orange. The forest greeted him with the sound of birds waking, leaves rustling in the wind, and the occasional crack of a branch as a small animal scurried through the underbrush. He took a deep breath, the air rich with the scent of wet earth and wild flowers. Milo loved moments like this when the world seemed alive, when every sound and smell reminded him that he was part of something bigger. A few hours into his trek, Milo heard voices approaching. He froze, unsure if he should step back or keep moving. From the trees emerged a young man, carrying a small pack and a walking stick. His movements were calm and confident, like someone who had spent years in the forest. "Hello," the man said with a friendly smile. "Are you lost, or just exploring?" "I'm Milo," he replied. "I'm searching for the waterfall cave. I've heard it's somewhere deep in the forest." The man nodded. "I'm Aaron. I know this forest well. If you like, I can help you find it." Milo hesitated. Trust did not come easily to him, especially in unfamiliar places. But something in Aaron's calm demeanor, the way he moved effortlessly among the trees, made Milo feel he could take a chance. "All right," Milo said. "I'll go with you." As they walked together, Milo noticed how naturally Aaron navigated the forest. He pointed out edible plants, warned Milo about slippery moss, and shared stories about animals that lived in hidden corners of the rainforest. At first, their conversation was simple about directions, the forest, and the weather, but slowly it deepened. Milo told Aaron about his love for exploring, about the books he had read of adventures in faraway places, and how he often dreamed of discovering something truly extraordinary. Aaron listened, occasionally laughing softly at Milo's excitement, and shared his own experiences, tales of survival, and moments of awe in the forest. By midday, they reached a small clearing where sunlight streamed through the thick canopy, creating golden patterns on the forest floor. Milo sat down to rest, and Aaron followed. They ate a simple lunch of fruit and nuts, and Milo noticed how easy it felt to be with him. There was no need to impress or explain, just a shared enjoyment of the present. After lunch, they continued deeper into the forest. The path became less clear, overgrown with vines and shrubs, but Aaron moved confidently, brushing aside obstacles as if the forest itself respected him. Milo admired his skill, feeling a growing sense of respect and curiosity for his guide. They laughed together when Milo stumbled over a hidden root, and Aaron caught him before he fell. "Careful," Aaron said with a grin. "The forest can be tricky, even for those who know it well." As the afternoon wore on, clouds began to gather above the trees, and a light drizzle started to fall. The smell of rain on the forest floor was refreshing, and Milo felt a thrill of excitement. Rain in the rainforest was different. It was not a nuisance, but a reminder of life, growth, and the untamed energy of nature. They found shelter under a large tree, the thick branches keeping them mostly dry. Milo shared a story from his childhood, and Aaron listened intently, eyes reflecting the soft light of the rain. For the first time, Milo realized that this journey was more than just a search for a cave. It was about connection with the forest, with the unknown, and, surprisingly, with another person who seemed to understand his curiosity and spirit. Aaron's presence was calming yet invigorating, and Milo felt a strange happiness he could not quite name. As the rain eased and sunlight returned in patches, Milo packed his things and stood, ready to continue. "Shall we keep going?" he asked. Aaron smiled. "Yes. The cave is not far now, and I think you're going to love what you see." Milo's heart raced with anticipation. The journey had only just begun, but already it promised adventure, wonder, and something even more unexpected, a friendship, or perhaps something more, that would grow as they walked deeper into the heart of the rainforest. With careful steps, they plunged forward into the green world ahead, unaware of the wonders waiting for them behind the next bend, the hidden waterfall cave calling them closer with every step. The forest grew denser as Milo and Aaron moved forward. Thick vines hung like green curtains, and sunlight barely touched the ground. Every step brought the scent of wet earth and blooming flowers closer to their senses. Milo felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had read about such forests in books, but experiencing it was completely different. Every rustle in the leaves made him pause, and every bird song seemed louder and more vivid than he had imagined. Aaron noticed Milo's awe and smiled. "The forest always feels bigger than it looks," he said. "It has a way of reminding you how small we really are." Milo nodded. "I never imagined it could be this alive. Even the air feels different." They continued walking, following a narrow trail hidden by moss and fallen leaves. Suddenly, the ground beneath them became slippery, and Milo nearly lost his balance. Aaron reached out instantly, steadying him. "Careful," Aaron said, chuckling lightly. "You'll learn to trust the forest, but it's tricky at times." Milo laughed, feeling a warmth in the moment that had nothing to do with the day's sun. He realized he enjoyed Aaron's presence more than he had expected. There was a calm confidence in him, a quiet understanding of the forest that made Milo feel safe and encouraged. After a while, they reached a small stream. The water was clear, and Milo could see tiny fish darting between the rocks. They paused to refill their bottles and rest their legs. Milo skipped a small stone across the water and laughed when it bounced twice before sinking. Aaron watched him with a small, amused smile. "You really do love every little thing, don't you?" he said. "I can't help it," Milo replied. "This place, it's magical. I feel like I could stay here forever and still find something new every day." Aaron nodded thoughtfully. "That's why the rainforest is special. It teaches patience, curiosity, and respect. But it also has surprises for those who look closely." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden rustling in the bushes. Milo froze, heart beating fast, but Aaron raised a hand. "Relax. Probably just a small animal," he said. A family of brightly colored parrots flew out, squawking and flapping their wings. Milo watched, fascinated, as the birds disappeared into the canopy above. The forest seemed alive in a way Milo had never experienced. Every sound, every movement, every scent felt like part of a secret world that only a few could see. And with Aaron beside him, it all felt more meaningful. Milo realized he was learning not just about the forest, but about someone who could see and understand it deeply. As the afternoon passed, clouds gathered in the sky, turning it gray. A light rain began to fall, drumming gently on the leaves above. Milo and Aaron looked around for shelter. They found a large tree with wide, low branches that formed a natural roof. Underneath it, the rain barely touched them, and they sat down on the soft moss. The sound of the rain was calming, mixing with the distant calls of birds and insects. Milo took out his journal and began sketching the forest scene, trying to capture the magic of the moment. Aaron watched quietly, then pulled out a small notebook of his own, drawing sketches of plants and paths they had seen. They shared stories as the rain continued. Milo spoke of his childhood adventures, of exploring small forests near his home, and of his dream to see a place untouched by humans. Aaron spoke of the rainforest, of legends told by villagers, and of the many times he had felt both fear and wonder within its depths. Their voices blended with the sound of the rain, creating a rhythm that felt comforting and safe. At one point, Milo looked at Aaron and noticed how the light rain made his dark hair glisten, how his calm expression seemed perfectly in tune with the forest. Milo felt a strange, warm feeling in his chest, a sense of closeness that went beyond friendship. Aaron caught Milo's gaze and gave a small, knowing smile, but said nothing, letting the moment linger. When the rain slowed, the forest sparkled with drops of water clinging to leaves and vines. Sunlight peeked through the clouds, casting a soft glow on the mossy ground. Milo stood and stretched, feeling refreshed despite the long trek. Aaron followed, and together they stepped carefully back onto the trail, moving deeper into the rainforest. Milo realized something important: the journey was about more than reaching a hidden cave. It was about discovery of the forest, of nature, and, unexpectedly, of a bond forming between him and Aaron. Every shared laugh, every glance, and every small moment of trust felt like steps towards something he had never anticipated but now treasured. With the rain now gone and the path opening slightly ahead, Milo felt excitement bubble within him. The waterfall cave was still out there, waiting to be found. And beside him, Aaron walked confidently, guiding the way, unaware of the quiet joy and anticipation growing in Milo's heart. The forest stretched endlessly before them, full of secrets, beauty, and the promise of adventure. Milo took a deep breath, ready to follow wherever it led, knowing that the journey was already more extraordinary than he could have imagined. The forest began to open slightly as Milo and Aaron pressed forward, though it was still dense enough to make every step feel like a small adventure. Sunlight filtered through the thick canopy, forming scattered beams that danced on the moss-covered ground. The air was warm and damp, carrying the scent of wet leaves, blooming flowers, and distant water. Milo felt his heart race with excitement. He had been told that the waterfall cave was hidden behind thick vines and trees, almost impossible to find, but now he was closer than ever. Aaron led the way with confidence, stepping carefully over roots and slipping rocks. Milo followed, amazed at how naturally Aaron moved through the jungle, as if the forest itself had learned to recognize him. Every so often, Aaron paused to point out something small but remarkable: a cluster of bright orchids clinging to a tree trunk, a tiny frog blending perfectly into the moss, or a delicate spiderweb sparkling with tiny droplets of water. Milo snapped photos, took notes, and marveled at the hidden beauty all around them. "Look over there," Aaron whispered suddenly, pointing through a break in the trees. Milo turned and froze. There, through the green curtain, he saw the faint glimmer of water. The roar was soft but unmistakable. He could hear it before he could see it, a constant rushing sound that made his chest tighten with anticipation. "Is that?" Milo began, but Aaron nodded, smiling. "That's the waterfall," Aaron said. "We're very close now. It's more beautiful than most people imagine." They moved carefully, stepping over roots and around fallen logs. The roar of water grew louder with each step, echoing through the trees and creating a sense of power and wonder. Milo felt a shiver of excitement and fear. It was one thing to read about a hidden cave, and another to approach it, not knowing what they might find behind the curtain of water. Finally, they reached the edge of the clearing. The sight before them took Milo's breath away. A waterfall poured down from a rocky ledge into a crystal-clear pool below. Mist rose from the water, creating tiny rainbows that shimmered in the sunlight. Behind the waterfall, a dark opening revealed the cave, its entrance hidden from plain view. The sound of rushing water filled the air, vibrating softly through the ground and their bodies. Milo could hardly speak. "It's incredible," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. He stepped closer, reaching out instinctively to touch the cool mist. The water splashed lightly on his face, leaving tiny droplets glimmering on his skin. Aaron laughed softly, the sound blending with the roar of the waterfall. "Go ahead," he said. "It's safe. We can explore the cave, but be careful, rocks are slippery." Together, they stepped forward. Milo's heart pounded as he entered the shallow edge of the pool. Water splashed around his ankles, then calves. Aaron followed, his movements smooth and sure. They exchanged a quick, encouraging smile, and Milo felt a small thrill of joy. This was the moment he had imagined for so long, the moment when legend and reality collided. The cave behind the waterfall was dark but inviting. Droplets of water fell from the ceiling, creating a soft, musical tapping. Milo carefully adjusted his footing, stepping over smooth stones, while Aaron led with calm assurance. Inside, the cave opened into a wide chamber where sunlight filtered through cracks in the rocks, illuminating the mist in golden and silver tones. The air was cool and fresh, and the sound of the waterfall echoed, creating a natural music that felt both calming and inspiring. Milo turned to Aaron. This is unbelievable," he said. "I've never seen anything like it." Aaron smiled quietly, his dark eyes reflecting the soft light of the cave. "Few people ever get to see it. That's why it's special. And now you're here." For a moment, Milo simply watched the water, the rocks, and the mist. Then he looked at Aaron, realizing that this moment felt even more extraordinary because it was shared. The cave was beautiful, yes, but being here with someone who understood the forest, who had guided him safely, made the experience unforgettable. As they explored further, Milo noticed the way Aaron's movements were perfectly in tune with the space, careful, deliberate, yet fluid. He realized how much trust he had placed in this person, following him into the unknown. And in return, Milo sensed a quiet respect from Aaron, a recognition that Milo's curiosity and courage mattered. They stopped at a small pool inside the cave, where the waterfall's spray created tiny ripples on the surface. Milo stepped closer, gazing into the water, and felt a wave of contentment. The cave was more than a hidden place, it was a sanctuary, a secret world that seemed to exist just for them. Milo turned to Aaron again, smiling. "I'm glad you're here," he said softly. Aaron met his gaze, the faintest smile on his lips. "So am I," he replied, and in that simple exchange, Milo felt a warmth in his chest, a quiet happiness that went beyond the beauty of the cave. They spent the rest of the afternoon exploring the cave, slipping through tunnels, examining sparkling stones, and letting the waterfall mist touch their faces. Milo realized that the cave, the rainforest, and this shared adventure had already changed him. The world outside would continue, but here, in this hidden place, everything felt alive, magical, and full of promise. The sound of the waterfall echoed around the cave like a song of nature, powerful and soft at the same time. Milo and Aaron stepped carefully on wet stones, the mist brushing their faces and making their hair damp. The cave was alive with the sound of rushing water, dripping rocks, and the occasional echo of a bird outside. Every corner they explored seemed more magical than the last, and Milo could hardly believe such a place existed. Aaron led Milo deeper, pointing out sparkling mineral formations and small, hidden pools that reflected the dim light in surprising ways. Milo knelt beside one pool, dipping his hand into the cool water. Tiny ripples spread across the surface, catching light from a crack in the rock above. He laughed softly, the sound almost lost in the roar of the waterfall. "Be careful," Aaron said, though his tone held amusement rather than warning. "The rocks can be slippery, but it's fun if you watch your step." Milo grinned and took another step, losing his balance slightly, and Aaron reached out instantly. Their hands brushed, and Milo felt a small, unexpected thrill. Aaron smiled, a gentle, understanding look in his eyes that made Milo feel safe and seen at the same time. It was more than just friendship, something quiet and special was growing between them. They continued to explore, finding a small tunnel that opened into a wide chamber behind the waterfall. Sunlight streamed through the falling water, scattering in droplets that looked like tiny diamonds in the air. Milo stood still for a moment, mesmerized by the beauty and the sound around him. "It's incredible," he whispered. Aaron nodded, standing beside him. "Most people never see this," he said softly. "It's like the forest has kept it just for those who are curious enough to look." Milo smiled at Aaron. He realized he wasn't just amazed by the cave, he was amazed by the journey, by the company, by the way Aaron moved through this world as if he belonged here. There was a natural grace and ease to him that Milo admired deeply. Suddenly, Milo noticed a small pool at the center of the chamber, fed by water trickling from above. Without thinking, he stepped in, the water cold but refreshing. Aaron followed, splashing lightly as he stepped beside him. Milo laughed, throwing a small spray of water toward Aaron. Aaron responded with a playful splash, and soon they were both laughing, moving like children in the natural pool. The laughter echoed off the walls, mixing with the roar of the waterfall, creating a music of its own. Milo felt lighter than he had in years, as if all worries and fears had been washed away by the water and the joy of the moment. Aaron's eyes sparkled as he laughed, and Milo realized that he could stay in this place forever, sharing these moments, and he would feel complete. After a few minutes, they paused, breathing heavily and smiling. Milo looked at Aaron, noticing the way his dark hair clung slightly to his forehead from the mist, the way his eyes held warmth and amusement. For a moment, the cave, the waterfall, and the entire forest outside seemed to fade away, leaving only the two of them. "This is perfect," Milo said quietly. "I didn't expect it to feel like this." Aaron gave a small, knowing smile. "Sometimes the best things in life aren't just about finding a place," he said softly. "They're about sharing it with someone who understands why it matters." Milo felt a warm happiness spread through him. He had imagined discovering the cave, but he hadn't imagined feeling so connected to another person here. The moment was simple, pure, and unforgettable. They spent the rest of the afternoon exploring smaller tunnels, sliding carefully down gentle slopes, and observing glowing moss on the walls. The waterfall's spray made everything glisten, turning the cave into a sparkling wonderland. Milo felt a quiet pride in himself for having come this far, and an even deeper gratitude for Aaron, who had guided him safely and shared his knowledge so generously. As the sun began to lower, casting soft golden light through the waterfall, Milo and Aaron found a small ledge to rest. Water droplets sparkled on the rocks around them, and the distant sound of the forest mixed with the waterfall, creating a peaceful, almost magical atmosphere. Milo felt a sense of contentment he had never known before. He looked at Aaron, and for the first time, the idea of returning to the world outside the cave seemed almost difficult. Here, in this hidden place, he felt alive, joyful, and connected. And with Aaron beside him, sharing in this discovery, Milo realized that this journey was not only about exploring the rainforest, it was about finding someone who could walk with him through wonder, laughter, and quiet moments alike. As they sat together, letting the waterfall mist fall gently around them, Milo felt a quiet promise forming in his heart: this adventure was only the beginning. The forest had given them more than a hidden cave, it had given them a shared experience, a bond, and the start of something unforgettable. As night fell over the rainforest, the waterfall cave transformed into a quiet, mysterious world. Shadows stretched across the walls, and the steady roar of the waterfall became a calming lullaby. Milo and Aaron settled on a smooth rock ledge, its surface slightly damp but comfortable. The mist from the waterfall created a soft curtain of droplets around them, shimmering faintly in the pale moonlight filtering through the cave's entrance. Milo unpacked the small items he had carried: water, some fruit, and a few snacks, and offered them to Aaron. "It's not much," he said with a shy smile, "but it will keep us going." Aaron took the food with a nod and sat down beside Milo. "It's perfect," he replied. "This is more than enough. Being here, with the cave around us, it's more than I could have hoped for tonight." They ate in companionable silence at first, listening to the water splash against the rocks. Milo noticed how the dim light highlighted the contours of Aaron's face, making him seem both strong and gentle at the same time. Aaron caught Milo glancing and gave a small smile, as if acknowledging that unspoken thought. Milo quickly looked away, feeling warmth spread through his chest. After a while, they began to talk again. Milo shared stories of his childhood adventures, of small forests he had explored near his home, and of the dreams that had led him to this rainforest. Aaron listened attentively, nodding, and occasionally sharing soft laughter when Milo described a particularly clumsy or funny moment. When it was Aaron's turn, he told tales of the forest, the hidden places only locals knew, and the quiet magic of nature that most people overlooked. He spoke of the animals he had seen in secret, the plants that only bloomed under certain conditions, and the stories of villagers who believed the forest had its own spirit. Milo was captivated, hanging on every word, imagining the forest through Aaron's eyes. The conversation grew quieter, softer, and more personal. Milo felt a growing trust in Aaron, realizing that here, in this hidden cave, he could speak openly without fear. He told Aaron about the small moments in life when he felt truly alive, when he had experienced wonder that no one else had noticed. Aaron's eyes softened as he listened, and when he spoke, he shared similar feelings: his love for discovering beauty in unexpected places, the joy of small adventures, and the satisfaction of understanding the world in ways others might overlook. For the first time, Milo realized the connection between them was deeper than he had expected. It was not just friendship or shared excitement, it was a quiet understanding, a bond formed through adventure, laughter, and trust. He felt a warmth in his chest that was gentle but undeniable, a sense that this was something rare and precious. The cave seemed to respond to their presence. Water droplets glittered on the rocks, reflecting light like tiny stars. The roar of the waterfall softened in the background, becoming a gentle rhythm that matched the calm of the night. Milo watched as Aaron leaned back slightly, eyes closed, listening to the sound of the water. He looked peaceful, completely at ease in a way that made Milo's heart swell with admiration and affection. At one point, Milo picked up a small smooth stone from the ledge and tossed it lightly into a shallow pool nearby. The splash made tiny rings ripple outward, and Aaron laughed softly. "You always find something to play with, don't you?" he said. Milo shrugged, grinning. "I guess I can't help it. This place brings out the child in me." Aaron nodded, smiling, and the simplicity of the moment, the laughter, the water, the soft mist made Milo realize that this was what happiness could feel like, quiet, natural, and shared. As the night deepened, the temperature dropped slightly, and the mist from the waterfall felt cooler. Milo shivered and Aaron instinctively offered his jacket. "Here," he said softly. "It will keep you warm." Milo accepted it, feeling the comfort of both the jacket and the gesture. He realized that beyond the beauty of the cave and the thrill of the adventure, it was Aaron's presence that made this night truly memorable. The trust, the laughter, and the shared quiet moments had created something that neither of them had expected, a sense of closeness that felt safe and exciting all at once. They settled again, side by side, listening to the waterfall and the forest outside. Milo let his mind wander, thinking about how rare moments like this were, moments where the world outside seemed distant and unimportant. Here, in the hidden cave, surrounded by mist and the sounds of nature, everything felt perfect. As sleep began to creep in, Milo looked at Aaron one last time, noticing the calm expression on his face and the gentle way the light caught his features. He smiled softly, a quiet gratitude filling him. This adventure had given him more than he had imagined. It had given him wonder, beauty, and the beginning of a bond he hoped would last far beyond this hidden cave. The next morning, sunlight poured through gaps in the thick canopy, casting a soft, golden glow on the rainforest floor. Milo woke to the sound of the waterfall, its roar now familiar and comforting. He stretched, feeling refreshed after a night in the cave, and noticed Aaron already awake, sitting on a rock ledge and watching the water droplets sparkle in the morning light. "Morning," Milo said softly, careful not to startle him. Aaron turned and smiled. "Morning, Milo. Sleep well?" "Yes," Milo replied, "better than I have in weeks." He paused, looking around the cave. "This place, it feels even more alive in the morning." Aaron nodded. "The forest changes with the light. Every hour, every minute even, it's different. That's why I love it so much." After a simple breakfast of fruit and water, they prepared to explore more of the cave and the surrounding rainforest. The morning air was cool and fresh, carrying the scents of wet leaves and flowers. Milo felt a thrill of anticipation as they stepped back into the forest, following narrow paths that Aaron knew well. Soon, they reached a small pool fed by trickling water from a side stream. The water was crystal clear, revealing smooth stones and tiny fish that darted between them. Milo stepped closer and dipped his hand into the pool, feeling the refreshing chill. Aaron followed, and together they explored the area, examining the plants and insects that lived along the water's edge. "This is amazing," Milo said, smiling. "I've never seen anything like it." Aaron grinned. "Most people don't notice the small things. They rush past, looking for the big sights. But the little wonders, they're often the most memorable." They laughed together, and Milo felt a warmth in his chest, a quiet happiness that grew stronger with every shared glance and every playful splash of water. At one point, Milo slipped slightly on a wet stone, and Aaron caught him before he fell. Their hands met again, and Milo felt a small thrill at the contact. Aaron's eyes met his, and for a brief moment, neither spoke. It was a simple, silent acknowledgement of the bond that had grown between them, unspoken yet undeniable. After exploring the pool, they moved deeper into the rainforest. Milo noticed how naturally Aaron navigated the uneven ground, stepping over roots and ducking under vines. Milo tried to follow as best he could, admiring Aaron's confidence and grace. At one point, they reached a small clearing where sunlight streamed through the trees, illuminating a patch of glowing moss. The sight was breathtaking, and Milo couldn't help but step closer to touch it. "It's beautiful," Milo whispered. Aaron nodded. "It is. And it's moments like this that remind me why I love this place so much." They continued on until they reached a small waterfall-fed pool hidden behind a wall of vines. Milo's eyes widened. The water shimmered in the sunlight, and the mist created tiny rainbows that danced across the rocks. Without thinking, Milo stepped in, the water cool against his skin. Aaron followed, and soon they were both laughing, splashing water at each other and enjoying the carefree moment. For Milo, it was more than just fun. It was a revelation. The forest, the waterfall, the hidden cave, all of it was incredible. But what made it truly special was sharing it with Aaron. The connection between them had grown stronger over the days, from simple trust to deep admiration and a quiet, tender friendship. Milo realized he cared for Aaron more than he had expected, and he felt certain that Aaron felt the same. They paused in the pool, letting the water flow around them and the mist fall gently on their faces. Milo looked at Aaron, seeing the reflection of the sun in his eyes and the calm happiness on his face. "I'm glad you're here," Milo said softly. Aaron smiled, a gentle warmth in his expression. "So am I, Milo. This adventure, it's better because we share it." The forest around them seemed to respond to their happiness. Birds sang from high branches, sunlight sparkled on leaves, and the water shimmered in playful patterns. Milo felt a deep sense of joy and contentment. The rainforest had given him wonder, beauty, and a shared adventure, but most of all, it had given him Aaron, a companion who understood, encouraged, and inspired him. As the afternoon wore on, they explored hidden tunnels behind the waterfall and small pools carved by centuries of flowing water. Each discovery brought laughter, curiosity, and moments of quiet admiration. Milo realized that the cave, the waterfall, and the rainforest were not only a place of beauty, they were a place of connection, a secret world that had brought them closer than either of them could have imagined. By the time the sun began to lower, casting long shadows through the trees, Milo felt a warm certainty in his heart. This journey, which had begun as a search for a hidden cave, had become something far greater. It was about friendship, trust, shared wonder, and the quiet beginnings of something truly special. As they sat together at the edge of the waterfall pool, Milo knew that the memory of this day, the laughter, the discovery, the gentle understanding would stay with him forever. And he felt a quiet promise forming, that this adventure was not the end, but only the beginning of a bond that would grow as surely as the rainforest around them. The morning air was fresh, filled with the scents of damp earth, wildflowers, and mist from the waterfall. Milo woke to the soft roar of water and the golden light filtering through the canopy. He stretched, feeling the calm energy of the rainforest around him, and noticed Aaron already awake, standing near the cave entrance, watching the sunlight dance on the mist. "Good morning," Milo said softly, smiling as he joined him. "Good morning," Aaron replied. "Ready to see more before we head back?" Milo nodded. He felt a quiet excitement in his chest. The cave and the waterfall had given him wonder, joy, and an unexpected connection with Aaron. But today, leaving the cave meant bringing those memories back to the world outside, a world that suddenly felt brighter because of their shared adventure. They spent the morning exploring the hidden corners of the cave one last time. Milo touched the smooth stones in the pools, admired the sparkling mineral formations, and listened to the soft echoes of the waterfall. Every sound, every glimmer of light, felt more vivid because Aaron was beside him. He realized that he would carry not only the memory of this place, but the memory of sharing it with someone who understood the magic of discovery. As they stepped outside, the rainforest greeted them in full glory. Birds sang from the treetops, the sunlight glinted on leaves, and the soft rustle of animals moving through the undergrowth created a symphony of life. Milo and Aaron walked side by side, the path ahead still uncertain but less intimidating with each other's presence. At one point, they reached a small clearing where the forest opened up to a view of distant hills and rivers winding through the trees. Milo stopped, taking in the sight, and Aaron stood beside him, silent, letting the beauty of the moment speak for itself. Milo felt a deep sense of gratitude not only for the forest, the cave, and the waterfall, but for the bond that had grown between them. "I can't believe we actually found it," Milo said quietly. "All the stories, all the legends, and it was more amazing than I imagined." Aaron smiled, his eyes reflecting the sunlight. "Some places are like that. But it's not just about finding them. It's about experiencing them. And sharing them." Milo nodded, understanding exactly what he meant. It had been the laughter, the trust, the quiet conversations, and the shared moments of wonder that had made the journey unforgettable. It was more than an adventure, it was a beginning. They continued walking, occasionally glancing at one another and smiling. Milo noticed how naturally their steps had synchronized, how comfortable it felt to share the silence, and how every small moment seemed brighter because Aaron was there. He realized that he had come to care deeply for this person, not only for his knowledge of the forest but for his kindness, patience, and quiet strength. As the day went on, they approached the edge of the forest, the path opening to a sunlit trail that led back to the village. Milo felt a mixture of satisfaction and reluctance. He wanted to stay longer in the hidden world of the cave and waterfall, yet he knew that the journey had given him something far more valuable, a connection that could not be hidden or forgotten. Before they left the forest, Milo turned to Aaron. "Thank you," he said softly. "For everything, guiding me, sharing the cave, and for being here." Aaron's eyes softened, and he smiled warmly. "Thank you, Milo. You made this adventure special too. I'm glad we shared it." For a moment, they simply stood together, letting the forest around them be a witness to their friendship and the unspoken bond that had grown over days of exploration, laughter, and trust. Milo felt a quiet happiness settle in his heart, a happiness that was steady, comforting, and promising. As they walked the last stretch of the trail toward the village, Milo realized that this journey had changed him. It had reminded him that discovery was not only about hidden places, but about the people who could share in the wonder. And Aaron, walking beside him, had become far more than a guide. He was a companion, a friend, and perhaps the beginning of something even more meaningful. The waterfall cave remained hidden behind its curtain of water, secret and untouched by the outside world. But for Milo and Aaron, it would never be just a cave. It was a symbol of trust, adventure, and the quiet joy of finding someone who truly understood them. When they finally emerged from the rainforest, the sunlight warmed their faces, and the village appeared ahead. Milo took a deep breath, feeling both the satisfaction of completing the journey and the excitement of carrying its memories forward. He glanced at Aaron, and in that simple look, they both knew that this was not the end. The rainforest, the cave, and the waterfall had given them more than beauty. They had given them a bond that would last far beyond the adventure. As they stepped into the world outside, Milo smiled, feeling the warmth of the sun, the thrill of discovery, and the quiet happiness that came from sharing it all with someone extraordinary. The rainforest had given them magic, and they carried it within them, a treasure that no distance or time could ever take away.